This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. I'm back to give you the Sussex circus that never stops giving. Today, we're talking about a story that is so perfectly Meghan Markle that I needed to share. I just read this piece from a journalist who dropped $2,699. Yes, almost $3,000 to spend a weekend sharing a hotel room with a total stranger, all for the privilege of hearing Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, speak at this thing called Her Best Life in Sydney.
Security fears are growing ahead of Meghan Markle's upcoming Australian visit, with online threats, David, casting a shadow over her Sydney wellness retreat. The Duchess is set to host a women-only event at Coogee Beach next week. But trolls, we love the trolls. Yeah. They are claiming they've secured tickets with plans to secretly record the experience.
Yeah, how's this? Prince Harry is also travelling to Australia with his wife to speak at a separate summit. His visit adding further attention to the high-profile tour.
Let me tell you, the way Meghan and her team treated this woman, straight up a-hole behavior. So far, the propaganda that we're seeing and this marketing that's being pushed is trying to give this her best life, this women's empowerment vibe. Ocean views, yoga, sound healing, gala dinners, champagne, disco, poolside vibes, and then the main event to ruin the whole entire vision is this intimate conversation with Meghan herself. Only 300 women, curated, coveted. The magic happens when you surrender to the experience. I mean, that's classic Meghan Markle speak. Wrap it in the sisterhood language, slap a luxury price tag on it, and suddenly grown women are wiring thousands of dollars to bunk with a rando because women uplifting women. So this journalist, booking as a paying customer, not as press, registers interest. She gets the warm and fuzzy, Gemma would absolutely love for you to join, gets a private payment link, pays her $2,699, gets the confirmation email, we can't wait to meet you, and she's in. She's excited. She's already mentally packing for twin share luxury. She goes on to explain, then right before Easter, another email drops. In quotes, security requirements. Itinerary on a need-to-know basis. Translation? Meghan's people are paranoid as hell, which, fair, but you don't want to get to take someone's $3,000 and then treat them like a potential threat after the money has been cleared, you know what I mean? So this writer does the normal thing any sane person would do and asks for a tax invoice. Boom. Immediately the phone rings and then the email that says it all. In quotes, we become aware you work in the media. This is a closed-door experience. We can no longer offer you access. Refund processed. No media allowed, even though nowhere in the booking process did it say that. No fine print, no terms, no journalists need not apply. This woman wasn't there to record or expose anything undercover. She paid full price as a regular woman who wanted the experience, God knows why. And they still kicked her to the curb the second they realized who she was. And I apologize if you hear the annoyance in my voice, but Meghan Markle is the woman who never shuts her damn mouth up about empowerment, community, and women supporting other women. This stupid event is being advertised as living your best life at an event that literally screens and ejects women based on their job title. Keep in mind, this was after they sold her on this fantasy and made her feel like she was part of the inner circle and then took her $3,000. They then decided to just reject her. That's not empowerment. That right there was dehumanization with a side of hypocrisy. And let's be real. This isn't the organizers going rogue. This is a Meghan event. Her name is the entire selling point for this stupid weekend. Her security requirements are the excuse. Her team is the one deciding who's safe to be in the room with the Duchess of Scamelot, The same woman who cries about being silenced by the press is now the one whose team is silencing paying customers because they work in the media. This woman signed up, she paid, and she showed up in good faith. And Meghan's machine looked at her and said, "Nah, liability. Refund her." That's not just rude, that's just cruel and bitchy. That's the behavior of someone who thinks the rules don't apply to her, but everyone else has to play along with her control freak fantasy. It should be no surprise that Meghan's out there preaching sisterhood while treating regular women like background props she can discard the moment they become inconvenient or useless. The article ends with the perfect line. For an event built on empowerment, the whole thing left me feeling less supported woman and more screen liability. Exactly. Because that's what Meghan does. She sells this fake image, cashes the check, then pulls the rug out when it doesn't suit her narrative. So to the woman who wrote this, I say mad respect to you for coughing up $3,000, paying your own way and not having a man having to do it for you, and telling the truth. And to mean girl Meghan, you're an asshole. But nobody's surprised. And they want us to believe that this woman went to Northwestern. Like, how stupid is Meghan Markle to treat a woman who writes for the very same media outlets that push her propaganda? You see, if Meghan had an ounce of intelligence, she would have recognized that this is a woman that she would want to have in her corner. And that maybe during this weekend of her best life would give her a little bit of attention so that she could say some nice things, because her reputation and her brand is currently in the toilet. In my opinion, I think this is a blessing that this woman got her money back, because for those that have signed up and are now having second thoughts and you can't get your money back, are likely going to be very disappointed, especially if you end up having to share a room with one of those Antifa Sussex Squad squaddies. I'm pretty sure we can all think about something better to do with $3,000 than give it to this Duchess of Deception. In other news by circus clown Meghan, she's said to be developing a fashion line inspired by Princess Diana's most recognizable off-duty style. Sources told Radar Online, Meghan, the ambitious Duchess of Sussex is looking to translate the late royals' enduring aesthetic into a modern clothing range. Unbelievable. Oh, God. Meghan has nothing else, and now she's going to grift off of a dead woman? According to insiders, this aesthetic is central to Meghan Markle's apparent clothing range plans. One source said, Meghan understands how powerful Diana's image still is and how it is instantly recognizable, but also accessible, which makes it commercially viable and, in Meghan's eyes, profitable. Diana's approach to casual dressing is widely regarded as ahead of its time, blending structured tailoring with relaxed pieces. Her signature pairing of a crisp white shirt with denim jeans and a belt created a look that was both polished and approachable, helping redefine how a senior royal could present herself off-duty. Oh, so Meghan is still pretending to be a royal. Got it. And then we have, to close out this video, the final joke of the day with Harry and Meghan's clapback in Us Weekly that was published yesterday. I'm not going to go through the whole article because it's literally rehashing everything that they have gone through with a positive spin on why it didn't work out with Netflix and how Meghan and Harry are optimistic. You know, the whole PR spin on why they're such failures turned into, okay, they are really trying to gain traction and it seems like they are on the right path, blah, blah, blah. But the one part that was a joke that I thought was especially funny was this part. Meghan has received multiple offers to write her memoir, but it's not something she wants to pursue. The first source says, noting that there's a demand for content about their private life and the royals, but those are the types of projects they don't want to do. Harry and Meghan's luxe lifestyle, they own a $14 million Montecito mansion with a spa and 16 bathrooms, isn't exactly cheap. A memoir is the one area where Meghan has a lot of financial clout. It would be hugely lucrative for her, adds the source, noting it may be worth even more than Harry's. And then this last part. Harry's ties to the royal family continue to be a consideration. Meghan and Harry are cautious about everything they do and say in order to uphold the standards of the monarchy, says the source. Like, these two can't make it any more obvious in what they're doing. They're backpedaling so hard, pretending as if the last 6 years never existed. And oh no, we would never trash the institution. We would never disrespect the royals. It's still not going to change the fact that, Meghan, you're a bully and you are a liar. And all over American media today is about how nasty Harry and Meghan were towards the Queen in her final year of life, causing her tremendous amount of stress. So I don't think this is a really good look for you, Meghan. But you know what? You get what you give, and you deserve everything that's coming your way because you caused it. You brought this onto yourself. It's nobody's fault but your own. Now, before I go, speaking of the new book that was dropped by Hugo Vickers, there was one part in this book that I think it's important everybody sees. Just listen to this paragraph. It says here, on May 6, 2019, Prince Harry came into the Royal Mews at Windsor to give the media the news that a boy had been born. Then the world was told that Duchess of Sussex had gone into labor. She was the first woman to give birth and subsequently go into labor, according to the timeline. A photo showing the child's feet was released on Instagram on May 12th. The child, wrapped and not seen, was photographed with the Queen, Prince Philip, and Doria Raglan looking down on it, and that image was released, setting a pattern of publishing the backs of children's heads that would later become familiar. For the christening on July 7th, the new parents refused to announce who the godparents were. At that point, if not before, it was obvious that things were going to be tricky. I, for one, did not care who the godparents were, but I resented not being told. In this paragraph, the author is telling us Meghan did not give birth to those children without having to outright say it. The first line in itself gives it away by saying, on May 6, 2019, Prince Harry came into the Royal Mews at Windsor to give the media the news that a boy had been born, not Meghan delivered a boy or Meghan just gave birth to a boy. Right after saying that sentence, then he says, then the world was told that Duchess of Sussex had gone into labor. So even after Prince Harry announced that they had a boy that was born to somebody, it was announced that Meghan went into labor. So as you see throughout this paragraph, he's also challenging that none of the stories lined up. It's glaringly obvious that something was up because as you see in the middle of this paragraph where it says, the child, wrapped and not seen, right, making a point of that, was photographed with the Queen, Prince Philip, and Doria Raglan looking down on it. Now, why would you call this child it? Why didn't they say looking down on him? Or simply the baby? Or how about Archie? You know what I mean? Why did he say it? You do recall in Tom Bower's book Revenge, he mentioned to say that the Queen was looking down at a shawl, right? So how is it the royal family has allowed this con to go on? If the Queen and Philip were looking down at a shawl and weren't actually looking at a baby, then why didn't the palace call it out and correct it and say that the photo was doctored or that it's not a factual representation? They could have easily have done that and put it to bed to protect the brand and the reputation of the institution. But what if, and I'm just throwing this out there, what if they are complicit with this? How could they not know what was going on with these two, especially with this child and what happened with this child? Like, why would they allow this mockery to continue? And then you have this final part where it says at that point, if not before, things were going to be tricky. What was going to be tricky? So essentially, he's saying that this whole sham of a birth of whoever this child Archie belongs to was going to be hard to pull off in front of the world because of what Meghan and Harry had been doing to deceive the public. Like, why would you say at that point, if not before, because of all the shenanigans that were going on, things were going to be tricky? What's so tricky about raising children? You know what I'm saying? Unless those children aren't yours. That's just my opinion on how I interpret this paragraph. But this paragraph does have quite a bit in it. Harry and Meghan are liars, and Harry and Meghan need to be questioned about this. And I think the king needs to remove those two children from the line of succession until the public is satisfied with the evidence needed to show that they deserve to be in that line of succession. But at this moment in time, there's no evidence that they belong there. So, they should be removed, in my opinion. I think if the crown really wants to survive, they need to start gaining back the trust of the public. Because between Andrew and these two births, I think many people don't trust the institution in what they represent, especially with all that's going on right now in the UK. And nothing is being done about standing up and supporting the British people. What's the whole point of having an institution when they're not even defending the faith that the country was founded on? And I also think that it's not fair that this mess created by Harry and Meghan, as well as the saga with Andrew, should fall on William's shoulders to clean up. I think the king should step up and do something about his traitorous son, remove them out of the line of succession, and give William a fair chance at being a good king. Getting off on the right foot. Because if this falls on his shoulders, it's going to follow him. I think they really need to clean this up before he takes over. Charles, bite the bullet already and do the right thing and remove your son from threatening the institution, because right now, Harry and Meghan are threats to William and Catherine. And this is what makes me very uncomfortable, because we know Meghan is ruthless. Meghan will do what she has to do to get what she wants. And the only way to stop that is to prevent any possibility of that happening. And they need to start with those two invisible children. Get them out of the line of succession until sufficient evidence shows that they deserve to be there. Otherwise, remove them. But that's just me sharing my opinion with everybody. But what do you guys think? Definitely let me know your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
It was such a fraud.